Okay. Greetings, star beings. It's Stacy and Kirby from Shakti Tribe, where personal growth, spirituality, and Tantra meet. And we are experiencing an awakening, so we figured now is a good time to chat. This is really about raising our consciousness, and it's a Shakti tradition, so we are modernizing Shaktiism because now's a good time for that. So we are going to introduce you to the goddess and the god of Tantra, Shiva and Shakti. But first I want to introduce my Shiva friend and colleague, Kirby. And Kirby has been teaching Tantra for 31 years in Tibetan traditions, Chinese, as well as Vedic traditions. Kirby, I'd love to hear from you and introduce Shiva.
All right, thank you. So Shiva, I kind of looked into the history of this, and Shiva comes from people that were traveling with the herds. And in the herd, it's he's got his bull that is his ally. And so this goes way back to an ancient time before there was civilization in India. It goes back to the people roaming on the steppes between the Black and the Caspian Seas. So this dude's been around for a while.
What does it feel? What does Shiva feel like?
Absolute awareness without content, emptiness. So he's portrayed as sitting on top of a mountain, meditating for 10,000 years before he's interrupted.
By Shakti.
Yes, and once he's interrupted, then that creates the Tantra. And I think that's kind of interesting symbolically when you think about it, because if you are absolutely meditating and that's all you're doing, nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want something to happen, you introduce the feminine force with the awareness, and all of a sudden, here we go. Now we have a Tantra, we have a lesson, we have a world, we have things that are going on, and we're aware of them.
We have polarity.
We have polarity, unity, embrace. And so Shiva is descended from that sort of pastoral tradition. But what's happened with that is as people meditate and as they have experiences, they realize that there's a place that you can go that is so still that nothing's in it, not even you. And from that starting point, from that Shiva, from the breath going out and the emptiness that follows that breath, then you inhale and you bring in the aliveness and the Shakti. Prana and Shakti are both life force or female energy.
And we're going to fill into that too. Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah.
So whenever we start a ceremony, we usually start with Shiva because Shiva holds the safe space for Shakti. And Shiva, it represents pure consciousness, as you mentioned, and the Ida and Pingala energies on the Sushumna, or the central channel, that is actually the dance of Shiva and Shakti. So we're talking about energy body, your energy body. And we think it's a lot more fun when we think about Shiva and Shakti or Cupid and Psyche. And I just struck my glasses. Whoops. Anyway, so I'm going to read an invocation from Alana Fairchild. And I welcome you all to breathe into your hearts. Perhaps do a Kali Yantra, Kali Mudra, which is like the Yoni Mudra, placing your hands at your heart. Otherwise, covering your left hand with your right hand with your left hand, which is the feminine tradition. And breathing into your heart space. So it's not about me, it's not about Cupid and Psyche, it's about we're all one. And that's really what Shakti Tantra Yoga is about. Okay. So in our tradition, there's Kali Ma, who's another name for Shakti. But we're a Kali tradition also, so we're going to say her name. And this, by the way, is from Alana Fairchild, the Kali Oracle, which slays me. I think everyone should get one of these. Okay, so so breathe into your heart. I invite you to breathe into your heart. And just imagine you're version of the goddess, whatever she may feel like or look like, whether she be from a Christian tradition, a Vedic tradition, Islamic tradition, Greek, Roman, it doesn't matter, because Shakti cannot be owned. So however Shakti comes up for you, or the divine feminine comes up for you, is perfect. So we're invoking the goddess, and then we'll be experiencing the goddess. Beloved Kali Ma, cosmic priestess of the divine feminine, we honor you, Mataji. Beloved Shiva, Mahadev, fierce guardian of the divine masculine, I honor you, Babaji. Together you are loving, divine wisdom, passionate healing, fire and uplifting transcendent grace. Your tantric embrace ignites my heart with confidence to create and be joyful and rapturous, on claiming my life's path for all it can be. My soul is your divine bedchamber, infused with the bliss of your sumptuous, sacred union. I become able to recognize my true nature and path. Adi Shakti Kundalini, Madi Shakti, you ensure the divine fulfillment shall be attained for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Shakti. Place your hands in prayer over your heart. Allow your right hand to be covered by your left. See, sense, and feel or intend the love of the feminine being protected and guarded carefully by the light of the masculine. Feel the energies intermingling in your heart, where love, courage, and feeling of innate spiritual protection grow strong and powerful. Breathe into this space. Let it bring you peace. So please take a deep breath into your heart. And we're actually going to have a little mini class here today. And we're going to actually feel Shiva and Shakti. So I think that we're going to do what's called the Hamsa breath. Kirby's going to introduce that. And we're going to feel into Shiva and Shakti, or the divine feminine and divine masculine as you see it, or the Ida and Pingala. Okay. So in Tantra, one of the most key concepts, which is where we're going to feel the energy of masculine and feminine energy, is in our central channel. So if you close your eyes and just imagine light coming down into your head, like the sunshine shining down onto you. So often when we see, say, Greek or Roman gods, and they have a halo, a golden halo, well, that's the light. So this is yoga of the light. We are Shakti Tribe. And so we're just here to experience the divine feminine and the divine masculine in us, which is what we're talking about today. And we're going to get a little bit more technical. We're actually going to talk about more of the, in a way, it's kind of more masculine form of the structural energy body. We're going to be talking about the 7 chakras, the central channel, and a little bit. I actually had some more some anatomical images, but they didn't come up, so it's kind of funny. Something else did. So just breathing into, it's your energetic spine. So if you imagine the sun shining into your energetic spine. So it's just a light that comes right down into your body. And the Ida and Pingala are the masculine and feminine energies that come up that Sushumna channel, and they intermingle at the chakra, and each chakra. So we've got, as Kirby was saying, the consciousness of Shiva meeting with the energy of Shakti. So the sacred masculine holds the sacred feminine at each level. So each chakra is essentially not only a goddess, but a level of consciousness. So Tantra is about weaving together the sacred masculine and sacred feminine energies and expanding them. Okay, so that's what the teaching of the You know, this is Shakti Kundalini. So that Shakti is literally the energy that wakes you the fuck up. Right, Curbs?
You bet.
That's right. And even it wakes Shiva up too, because Shiva was meditating and he was very determined because that's, you know, it's, you know, these are masculine and feminine qualities, but this is just energy, right? It's energy in the phenomenal world. And some men have more feminine energy and some women or biological women have more masculine energy. So this isn't about gender. This is about energy. So Kirby, I'm going to toss it over to you to do we're going to do a Hamsa meditation, one of our favorites. And I found out today that if you, and in our brain, we have this, if we basically cut it in half laterally, we open our brain, we'll actually see the swan, the Hamsa swan with the wings and everything. So that's interesting. Anyway, so Kirby, let's do the Hamsa breath. And thanks for coming, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
and I'm going to share some. I'm going to share some of the video, the photos, as you get into it. Okay.
okay.
Okay. Perfect.
So the Hamsa swan that she mentioned are the two brain hemispheres, and it's like the caduceus. And with the caduceus, you have the two serpents going up the staff, Ida and Pingala, and Sushumna up the center. And then there's a point right in the center, which is the body of the swan, which is the third eye. But it's also what's called the cave of Brahma, between the two brain hemispheres. And in there, we have the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, and hippocampus. And so at the back of this, we have what is called the mouth of God. And then we go forward through the glandular structure to the third eye, which is the pituitary. So it's really busy in there. And in order to be calm, we vibrate it. And we begin vibrating it, if I may, with an Om. So we put ourselves in the right place before we begin the breath. And Om can do this. In particular, this Om starts, you've heard many people just go Om like that, and other people go Om. And the people that start with Ah, start down in their hips, and you let the energy rise. And when you do Aboriginal singing, or when you do bel canto opera singing, it all comes from in the hips and it rises through the body. And so that kind of an Om begins in the sex center and ends in the cave of Brahma.
And the cool thing is it actually brings in Shakti to meet Shiva in the cave of Brahma.
It does, yes.
Would you demonstrate, because this is going to be a replay, so would you demonstrate that Om for us?
Yes. I'll do it 3 times. Ah. Ah. And then you begin the Hamsa breath. And in the Hamsa breath, it's also, there's a one that's very similar to it that's called the Shiva Shakti breath. But in both of them, Shiva meets Shakti in the following way. The Sa, the exhalation, you let your air out until there's emptiness. And you hold just for a moment. And then you breathe the Shakti in and fill your whole body with light and hold for just a moment. You keep the muscles relaxed throughout. And so I'll begin with the exhalation, and I will emphasize the sound. But when you're doing it by yourself, the sound is very quiet. It's a whisper.
Will you also clarify the root lock and the tongue as well?
Yeah, you don't use those. Those are not part of the Hamsa breath. You relax your body in the Hamsa breath.
You're right. I was thinking of the other breath we were going to do tonight. My bad.
Oh, we can keep going. You know, fun can be had no matter where we go. But I'll begin with an exhalation. And the last one. And you hold the stillness for a moment. And inhale. I'd like to share a little story about Hamsa. I learned it in a yoga class, and I became quite interested in the tantras, and I got a tantra that is named the Kula Arnava Tantra, which is from northeastern India. And Kula means family, so it's the way of the family. It's the tantra that is the way of the family. And as I'm reading through this book, they say, I'm going to introduce you to this breath that is so powerful that you can look down on the land of the gods, but you better not, you better not share this with anybody. And they make all these conditions and so forth. And they go on and on about how powerful it is and how you got to be careful about it and everything. And then I finally get to the breath that they're describing, and it's, wow, it's the Hamsa breath. So even though it's simple, there's a lot of power here. And one of the reasons why there's a lot of power, as you do it, you begin with what the Nath yogis called the willful breath. You're doing it consciously. And you just keep going and keep going. And then you forget that you're doing the breath, but it remains that breath. And the flow is like a gentle wave that carries you. Microphone.
Yeah, that's really Shakti to me, is the flow.
The
So
flow.
let go and flow, basically. So I meant to ask about the breath, the movement of the breath, but we're going to actually come out with a Hamsa instructional video soon. So watch out for that. Please subscribe. You can join our Patreon. We are leading radical sacred feminism. So if you're a feminist, if you love women, this is about worshiping the goddess. That's what we do. We're radical, right, Kirby?
You know, one of the nice things about radical is there's a word that comes right with it that you've often read, free radical.
Right.
And I kind of like the combination.
And Shakti is radical, and so is Yogini, and so is Dakini. We're doing all those,
Yes.
right? Okay. So and I think we're going to close it down, but this is just a little sample of kind of the class. We're starting these, but Kirby and I have worked together for years. And yeah, it's radical divine feminism. So hold on to your ass and put on your brass tits. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and end with a bit of Kali. I invite you to place your hands in prayer and bow your head to the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies within you, regardless of any judgments you have about yourself. You are as one with all of creation. Allow yourself to shine in all directions and through all dimensions for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Sending all of our love. Namaste.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.